Hello, you do not know me, I do not know you, but I welcome you to this rambling session. And this will be a bit interesting because I'm rambling about a fan-made thing, which means that I cannot be as obtuse as I usually am. I need to be nicer, and I need not to ramble about pronunciations for 30 minutes, and then get pronunciations wrong anyway, and then the comments keep yelling at me. Anyways, welcome. I hope you guys are having a good start to the year. Today I'll be talking about Sonic Galactic. Now, this is kind of a fan game that I've been not rambling, but following on Twitter for a few months now. Ever since that clip of like Sonic doing a drop dash on the wall, coolest shit ever. Phenomenal. I thought that game aesthetically looked phenomenal. The trailer looked for demo 2. I didn't even know there was a demo 1. But the trailer for demo 2 looked really spectacular, and so I kind of just decided to try it out from there. Now, Classic Sonic for me, I'm not the biggest fan of Classic Sonic, so maybe I'm not like the target audience for this. I would much rather like play 3D Sonic games, in my opinion. But I think that the sauce of this is really cool, and I do think that there are some things that do need work on, regardless of whether or not I have the quote unquote right to talk about these games. I guess, right? And the game does actually offer you a tutorial in case you're not familiar with Classic Sonic games, so I do feel like it's fair game, because the game did allow me. I'll try to be as constructive as possible, because critiquing like 20-year-old kids' games completely different than like a passion project just released, right? These are completely two different things, so I'll try to be nicer, right? So let's just take a look real quick. I'm not wasting any more time. There's no story, there's no connection to this game. It just came out. Let's just get into it. The pros. Alright, so before I get into anything, I just want to point out the aesthetic of this game is genuinely top notch. I genuinely have no complaints about it. Like, you can see me in the footage, like, actively pausing and taking in the sights so many times. It looks really good. The music. I think the issue with the music is that it loops a bit too frequently. But that might be relating to another problem that relates to the actual gameplay, which I will on the double design, which I'll get into a bit later. But I do feel like the music gets a bit repetitive at one point. But the actual tracks themselves are very fucking phenomenal. When you hear them for the first time, they hit. The stage music specifically, I couldn't really care for the boss music, honestly. But the music for the stages is very vibey. The presentation overall just really fucking good. The Budokai Tenkaichi 3 inspired like man menu phenomenal. All the line work and all the small details in just everything. Shout out to the final part of the demo, which is the arena part of the where like you're basically fighting a boss fight in like a stadium kind of like open thing. I'm not sure what you call it. But you fight the boss in that area, and of course, there's so many fucking references in the background. There's like a bunch of Sonic OCs, and they're all credited in the credits. It's very fucking cool. Honey is there, Metal Sonic is there. Like, this shit just made me smile ear to ear. The fact that I went into the boss after dying without rings, and then the audience gives you rings, like, there's a lot of love in the aesthetics of this game. Like, genuinely, really fucking good. And this goes beyond just like that little part. There's also some bigger parts, like the island really does feel like one big area. Like, like the island. This is a huge problem I have with Superstars, Mania, and Three Knuckles. Three Knuckles is the least of these, but I don't like the idea that we have these stage transitions, but the stages don't really make sense connecting to each other. Hydra City and Lava Reef are supposed to exist nearby each other since they both happen when you fall down. Like, again, the whole area doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't make sense that Hydra City would exist in the same place as Lava Reef, in the same place as, like, Sandopolis, in the same place as Marble Garden, in the same place as Angel Island. I don't think Three Knuckles did a very good job with that, and Mania and Superstars, I don't think they try. They're not even close. But this, they actually really like hammer it in. They sometimes introduce stage gimmicks, and sometimes they have like playable segments in between stages. Very fucking clever, very fucking cool, and I genuinely really like the location of the island, the location and the places that we visit. I think these are very cool. I really like them. I mean, we just the mic a bit. All right, there you go. That should be a bit better. But yes, very fucking phenomenal aesthetic wise. My only problem with the aesthetic is that I'm not sure if there's a problem with the level design or aesthetics, so I'm just gonna put this here. This has the issue a lot of Sonic 2D, like a lot of the more ambitious 2D Sonic games have, where you cannot fucking tell what is the background and what things you can stand on, and sometimes they just switch. I The city level is so guilty of this. I have the time. I'm just like, am I supposed to stand on this? Sometimes I go through things and then I can stand on them later, and I'm just very fucking confused. Is this part of the background? Is this part of the foreground? Hell, this even in the tutorial stage. In the tutorial stage, has something that is like, oh, I thought this was part of the level, but yeah, it just sometimes you just kind of like discover like, oh wait, this is not, I'm not supposed to stand on this, but then suddenly you can stand on it in a later part of the level. And sometimes I confuse the background and the foreground. The city level uses like like such like I think the issue is like the city level. It uses assets from the fucking foreground. Like there's this particular one object that's like the golden two rings inside the other thing. I'm not sure what to call it. That looks very fucking cool, but it's literally copy pasted in the background. So it immediately, like you don't see this in the older Sonic games where like parts of the foreground are in the background because that immediately causes confusion as to where the fuck is the background, and that happens so much in the city level. It's a fun stage, and the rings do help kind of tell you where to go, but like it's a bit annoying, and I do think some color palette or some fog or just anything to kind of distinguish the two would go a giant way. Because right now, at the city level, like it should be the coolest, but it just kind of suffers. Hell, the ending of the stage actually handles pretty well with just kind of like a hue going on. Why couldn't this also be like a different, like of course a dark attempt because it takes place at night, but like it should definitely have some sort of fog or whatever. I do not know how to do sprite-based games. I have no idea how technically possible or impossible the things I'm talking about here are, but like, please, something. Please, it was really took from the stage. Um, so that was the aesthetic discussion. The music, like I said, phenomenal. Special stages and bonus stages. I'm not sure if this is a bug or not. The mic is speaking. No, that's not good. I'm not sure if this is a bug or not, but what I found was that after I got into the first special stage, I couldn't get into anything afterwards. Now I know I was talking about some pros, but I'll get into it. I think the special stages are really fucking good, or the special stage, I guess, are really fucking cool. I like the idea. I like the idea of actually incorporating platforming into these things. The Sonic CD reference was not gonna notice. The music goes hard. Uh, and yeah, the big ring locations are decently hidden. Not what I would call phenomenal, but like they don't have to be. And the bonus stages are completely and utterly confusing. I have no idea how to play them. There was a part where I thought there was a wall and I just went through it, so I have no idea what the fuck is going on there, and I just gave up. Also, I could have sworn that track comes from a Sonic game that plays in the bonus stages, but I did not like see it in the credits, so like I was a bit confused. And the credits are pretty thorough, so they let you think some like Gamescape just in the credits. So like I mean this shit is pretty thorough, but like I couldn't find anything on there. If you guys know what track this is, I would love to know, because I could have sworn I heard it so many times before in Sonic related things. Alright, so that's kind of the pros. The sprites, by the way, sprites phenomenal as well. The animations are so good. I only did like a casual playthrough with Sonic. Like I will get into why the cameo are to replay the game beyond that, but like the all the sprite work, the intro animation, they were all very fucking fire. I think it was very fucking cool. Sprite wise, just aesthetic wise, I think this is like a very easy 10 out of 10. Besides the city thing, but like if you take a screenshot from it, like I would still say it's a 10 out of 10. You know, if you show me footage of it, I would say it's a 10 out of 10. And just playing it is a bit of a hassle. And yeah, so let's just get into some of the more negative things, because there's I really wished I liked this a bit more, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's just start with some of the minor things. The stage aesthetics, because of how... Okay, this is kind of a weird thing. So the game, for some reason, uses like per-pixel collision in a lot of sprites, which you should not do that ever if you're doing complicated stage designs and like stage aesthetics. So you can do some stupid shit like this, which I hope I'm remembering to put on screen right now, or this, or this. Like, there's a lot of instances where, like, because of how complicated the aesthetic is, it can kind of just stand on like straight pixels, like it just in there, and it gets very fucking weird. It gets a bit disorienting. It's not very like it doesn't feel right. A lot of the collision definitely needs a bit of work. Again, I understand this to save dev time because just doing like the collision manually would take eons. So just making it per pixel. My glasses just fell. Oops. But again, making it per pixel collision just automatically, I would assume this just saves time on like dev time. But please, like, don't do that. Again, there's a lot of instances where it kind of just goofs off the level design. And just overall, I do think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of bug fixing. I do think that there's not a single stage in this where like something didn't break, like something broke. I think except Act One of the first stage. I think that went relatively smoothly. By the way, I've heard there's a lot of crashes in special bonus stages. I did not see any of that. It ran perfectly for me. But performance-wise, like the water stage was killing the frame rate. My PC was sounding like an atomic bomb, and that should not be the case, dude. My computer is, I think it's good enough to run 2D Sonic the Hedgehog. I think we're good enough on that. So a lot of work needs to be done on the polishing side. Again, like there's a lot of like weird shit going on. I hope I put footage where it fits so the devs can actually see this and know what's going on. But there's a lot like object interactions. If there's more than two objects interacting, everything fucking breaks. There's a lot of smaller shit too that are like kind of odd that they just went unnoticed. Like if you do a drop dash, you cancel the drop dash, and then you try to use a shield ability, you can't. Even though they're two separate buttons, no idea what the fuck is going on with that. The physics sometimes don't make sense. If you do like a wall drop dash in water, you go nowhere. But if you go it at like instead of going at a full 180, you do it at 170 degree, you go fucking flying. I have no idea what's going on with there. Overall, this game uses a lot of what you call it, fake physics to get some things done, which is completely understandable. By the way, like recreating this shit 1-to-1 must have been insane because this is a custom engine as far as I mean. This is not like like I think it's like Discovery Engine, which recreates Sonic Mania, Click Fusion, or Not So Simple Sonic World. This is its own thing. So of course, faking your way to make it like feel like the classic Sonic games, that's completely fine. I don't really give a shit. I was born way after these games anyway. Purism is not on my mind while playing these games. But I do think there's a genuine issue where like you can easily kind of abuse that in some ways. Again, the water stage comes to mind. There's a lot of fake physics going on with there. It's just definitely needs a lot of work regarding that. And another thing that does need a lot of work is the level design. The level design, I think, the movesets are fire. I think, and the aesthetics and the stages are fire, but I do think that there's a lot of problems with it. So again, I'll be trying as constructive as possible. There's a lot of I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go going on in these stages. Again, this is a major problem as well with classic Sonic 2D games, especially the ambitious ones, where they just you do not fuck because of like how many pathways they are. A big issue they have, right, is that they might have a path that goes right and then left, and then a path that goes left and right. But because of how classic Sonic works, you might just drop down to or go up to one of these pathways just halfway through, which means that your direction where you're supposed to go just randomly switches. And because of how frequently it happens, you immediately just go right because like you assume like, okay, I got lost in the sauce here, let's just go right, and then I just find a room with 100 rings and 2 extra lives, and then like I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go. Like the game is rewarding me for discovering, bro. I'm just trying to beat the level, bro. I swear. The water level, dude. I don't like the level design in that. Aside from the broken object interaction, aside from the fact that some walls that look exactly the same are breakable while others are not, and I'm just very fucking confused. Like aside from that, it has a huge problem with direction. Uh, why does it give you an active shield at the end when it's a water level? I don't know. I don't know why it does that. I do not understand. The physics kind of break in half in the water. Like it's just, it has a lot of issues. That and dude, it's so fucking long. Why is the stage like? I don't even know how long the stage is because I took so long. I reached fucking overtime. All right, I think it was cold, right? I thought there was gonna be a time over, and I was gonna fucking cry, but thank God there's no time overs in this. Thank God, dude. Imagine if that stage had time overs, dude. I would just end it all right there. But yeah, and big fucking issue with the difficulty spike. Why is the first level having one of the most annoying types of enemies? There's a fucking two types of enemies in the first stage. One where you can't jump into them, and one you can't roll into them. This is perfectly fine if it's like the final stage of the game and you're meant to like you're supposed to immediately read on these things and you can't rely on the tools you always use the whole game and all that game design, wumble, whatever. Why is it in the first stage? In fact, I literally did not get hit a single fucking time in the second in the not the second zone. Yeah, in the second zone act one. I ended that stage with 500 rings, and I got like three like extra life boxes. Meanwhile, I could not go 2 seconds in the first stage without getting hit. Like, please, guys, there's just love. Like, please, difficulty. Please, I'm begging you. Like, why does the first stage have the most annoying enemies? I do not understand the idea behind it. These enemies are a great idea. Just put them later. Like, I don't understand why we start off with like this shit. I don't get it, especially considering this is like a game that again has a tutorial that like tells you, by the way, you can do slope jumps. Like it's going over the very basics of classic Sonic, and yeah, the first fucking stage just kicks your ass, and then the second stage is a fucking breeze, where the main issue you'll be having is the frame rate fucking killing itself. So like again, it needs work. The levels like it needs work. There's a lot of fun ideas here. I don't want to make it sound like it's all bad. I don't want to make it sound like the whole design is just this because again it does a lot of right, but I feel like the issue with a lot of these is that the barrier of how much right you can get is getting like it's getting a bit obvious. Like I feel like at this point people have figured out the classic Sonic level design philosophy. At this point, Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit, of course, you know, Mega Mix was the original. You also have after the sequel and before the sequel. But I feel like we've kind of just figured out how to do classic Sonic levels there. So a lot of these issues pop out, even though I'm sure there were so many man hours spent researching and making this. Because I'm sure making this was not easy. But again, when you get so used to this level and then like things fall below that level, it immediately pops out. And unfortunately, does lead to me sounding mostly negative. But I just want to say that I had an absolute great fucking time with this, like aesthetically pleasing. And you know, it's fun to speedrun these levels. You know, if only there was a time attack or a level select. But truth be told, I don't have footage of it. But like playing these stages is decent fun, right? With Sonic, it was fun, but replaying these stages is a chore. They're way too fucking long. These stages stretch to 7-8 minutes. And they get even worse when you get into boss fights. We may have figured out classic Sonic level design. We did not figure out shit about classic Sonic boss fights, dude. No one, not even Sega, knows how to fucking do classic Sonic bosses. In fact, I don't think they knew back in the original days. But at the very least, I would much rather them be just overly done with. You know, we just slap them 8 times and move on than just being fucking gauntlets where you just stand doing nothing. I should have footage of the guitar fight. Again, I mentioned I love the aesthetics behind this fight. I love the idea. You could just stand still for most of it, and maybe sometimes you jump and sometimes go to the right. When he gets available to hit is completely random, so you can just be waiting for 200 fucking million years. Again, the boss fights, you know, sometimes I don't know what's going on, just jump into them until they die. I have no idea what's going on. Somehow the boss with the most interesting idea of how to hit them is the fucking tutorial boss. The tutorial boss where you have to like spin dash into them. Like that actually has the best fucking design of any boss in this game, which sucks ass because it's kind of sad. Like, you know, and sometimes, like, guys, sometimes you just don't need a boss fight. You know, like, this is part of the zone fight of the water zone. Again, I don't remember the zone name. That's a big issue. The names are not easily understandable at all, which is a big fucking problem. Uh, like, I feel like I should be able to remember these, but for some reason, none of them stick out to mind. Like, I remember them, but, like, their names, I don't remember at all. Anyways, the point is that in the second zone, you see this battleship, and then you see it again at the end of the zone. It's like, oh, it's a full circle moment, and you know, there's like this kind of like Fang-esque section from like Sonic Superstars where he hits you from the background and stuff like that, which, you know, cool. And then it just doesn't fucking matter because like you can't hit it unless the game automates you hitting it, which is lame as shit. And then you just get a completely unrelated, easy as shit boss. Like, honestly, just remove the boss. Or just put it somewhere else. Like, don't waste enough time. They probably worked hard as fuck on that. But, like, don't throw it away, but, like, just, like, remove it or place it somewhere else because it just doesn't really fit here. Because, like, again, like, this has a whole aesthetic, this has a whole purpose, and you see it in the background and everything. And then it just shows up and then, like, it just disappears very fucking fast. And honestly, I had more problems with the fucking skull loop where I got stuck in the collision in for some reason. So, yeah, please, pixel collision, probably a bad idea. Just please just kind of revamp these areas. Oh, just a tiny bit. And honestly, that's really it. Like, is there anything else I'm missing? I mentioned the levels that I mentioned whatever. The bonus stage is not very good. The special stages are fucking fire. The level design needs a lot of work. There's a lot of good ideas in here. I like a lot of the ideas. I like what they do with the water stage with like all the bubbles and making it like reaching for bubbles not really a thing. And I do like that deviation. And they didn't just copy paste the Sonic Superstar slash Sonic Mania idea of just having like the game mechanic from Sonic 2 Game Gear. I appreciate that they went their own unique direction. And the most important part about this, regardless of what I say here, this game is a complete and utter labor of love. It's made with such passion. You can tell every single person on there loved working on it, and not a single word I say here should take away from it. Not a single thing, not a single minor criticism should take away from the amount of love and passion and just pure fucking hype and aura in that shit. Like this just speaks love and passion. And you know what? I liked it more than Superstars, so you know what? It's fine. Again, needs a lot of work. So much work needs to be done. And I do think that players are kind of weird because like there's so much focus on the aesthetic, and yet like, dude, yeah, like sometimes the game breaks when you jump into a slope. Like like you see what I mean? Like I feel like the priorities are kind of weird. Maybe this is kind of a case where like do like different teams or work on different things because like none of the sprite artists, from my understanding, none of the sprite artists are working on the level design. Right, like you feel me? Because like this, like I don't think this is an issue like Sonic Mania. From my understanding, like I might be completely wrong on this. Please do correct me. But from my understanding, like Sonic Mania and it's like the level design and sprites were kind of handled by at the very least very like close individuals. You know, like they kind of work like together. They kind of both got the same idea. Meanwhile, the sprite artists are kind of completely separated from the gameplay, and so you kind of just rely on team communication. And sometimes that does fall flat. I think the backgrounds can sometimes show that where sometimes some small details about like perspective just don't make sense with where you are in the level, or like there's like it's a little stuff like that, or like the city level where some of the background foreground gets mixed and they use assets between them. Like again, this is a complete labor of love. I'm just saying that like going back to it, like just a step back a bit would benefit this project a lot. But overall, I think this is the fin. Like, dude, the love for this is very fucking cool. The sprite, dude, I can't get over like the aesthetic of this, the sprites, the music, the aesthetic, just everything about it that isn't really playable. Is like I did, by the way, wall air dash. By the way, like not air dash, jump dash, very fucking peak. There is this one fucking cool ass segment where like you fight like this robot guy who like in the trailer, and then like he actually does the move, and then like you can technically just go right, but you could actually follow him and do the exact same sequence after him, and I thought that was very fucking cool. That's like a very cool way of like selling the idea of them being like equals or Sonic being better than him. I think that is very fucking cool. I'm breathing like shit, man. Speaking English for a long time blocks my fucking nose, man. I am tired of shit. But you know what? I hope these guys have a wonderful year, and I hope you guys have a wonderful year as well. And I hope that this game continues to grow because so much love, so much labor, so much just pure admiration for the source material here is being shown here. I can't fucking speak anymore, but you get the idea. I won't take any more of your time. Go play this. Like do not let me detract from it because maybe you just love it, or maybe I just suck ass because I don't play classics that much. But yes, that's all my thoughts, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful year. Who knows when I'll ever do the rest of the Sonic series of like Unleashed and Gens and all that. I'm not sure when I'll do them, but I'll do them one day. Who knows? Have a good fucking year, everybody, and please do support them. The link will be in the description. Thank you. I can't close the recording. All right, there you go.